Hey, this is Troy Taylor with Total Pole Sports. We're here with the life lessons from Coach Bald. Kyle Anderson, Coach Bald, how are you feeling today, man?
Hey, happy Friday, everybody there at Totem Pole Sports. Everything's good. A little foggy here, as you can see. It almost looks like a Bob Marley concert behind me, but no, it's just the fog here setting in. But
So,
yeah, Coach. You know,
influences.
yeah, influences. After last night's amazing podcast, and guys, go check that out, man. The real Cyborg, A.D. Paul Moore. Just amazing show last night. Just about a kid persevering through pretty much the worst conditions you could think of, man. This guy's like a modern day Mike Tyson, what he's kind of gone through, he had a couple, I think he said some rats. He had two rats bite him, when it rained outside, it rained inside. But, the guy's still shining bright now. It's not how you start, it's kind of how it's kind of the process of getting to where you're going. You know what I mean? And influences, is a big part of life. You can learn good traits from somebody, and then when you see bad traits, you can look at that as what not to do. And that's a hard thing to do. As a younger person, is just realizing what's the not what's the right. There's a right way, and then there's a wrong way. And sometimes just growing up in a bad situation, you learn what not to do, what not to be. And influences at a young age, I think, is what kind of sculpted me to who I am and everything. One of the first things I really enjoyed, I got the shirt on here, was pro wrestling, man. This is the Legion of Doom. And man, I just love those dudes, man. The way they would just come out there, and the crowd would go crazy, and they just kind of had a different look and everything, and it was just really exciting, and it was something I really enjoyed at an early age watching. And then I think of coaches when I was really young, because those are the ones that kind of you learn a lot from early on. And I remember my coach Mike Harefield at Salem. He was my first football coach, and he was just such an amazing influence. One of the things I learned first from him is this was old school football, man. He show you how to throw them flippers, man, how to throw them bows. And the guy looked like Popeye, man. He had forearms that looked like people's quads, and but he was just such a gentle giant to me. I remember he would pick me up, take me to football games. We'd go watch other teams, and it always meant a lot to me. And also on that team, I was for the Salem Cowboys. There, it was my first year playing. My buddy Jimmy Hines, one of my best friends. I'd known Jimmy since third grade. He's the one guy that's not a family member that I've probably known the most or the longest. And I remember his dad and his mom, made such an influence on me, because for one, man, his dad was just, he was just jacked. You know what I mean? He was like the closest thing I'd ever seen to the Road Warriors in person. You know what I mean? And he was always just so polite to me. And, Jimmy's mom just always, treated me like a son as well. So they had a huge influence on me as well. And, Mark and Matt Davis were on that same football team. We had a loaded up little football team, but, and their family, I remember going to their house and playing with those guys as little kids. And, all their brothers were just monsters and playing every sport. And, there was a ball in every room when I went over there. So that had a lot of influence. Mr. Davis was definitely a good influence for me. And, these are guys that I met at an early age. And I'll tell you another good story, man. That same football team we had, our quarterback that year was Jason Butler, who was James' little brother. And, man, I remember we were playing Bellwood, and, I think our game had finished. I was actually on a peewee level, and James was probably three or 4 years older than I am. And so he was probably maybe playing at the senior level. Well, sometime in that whole deal, man, that coaches, a fight broke out, man, and it was James Butler's dad was over there, and I mean he was tagging, two dads from Bellwood. You
These
know
are
what I
parents
mean?
fight. These are parents.
These are
fighting.
These are parents fighting. At Little League football. So it was just it was a different time. But I wouldn't change that for the world, man. Those are people that that had an influence on me. You know what I mean? And James was a guy I looked up. The whole way up, man. I remember him at Bird, and it was so awesome at Bird because you had a guy like him and Greg Worley. Those guys were just amazing at that time. And I remember going, and man, those guys were the modern day road warriors to me. You know what I mean? They both played on the offensive line. They were studs. And, it had a lot of influence to me. And the coolest part is, I was tied into those guys, not just from that early age, but also, when I got to high school, I had a mentor in Jimmy Kiefer, and Tony Morgan. Those were guys that Butler kind of showed them guys the path, and they kind of showed us the path. And, it was just good influences. And I remember one of the things too about Greg Worley. I remember when I was playing Little League, and Greg's dad, Coach Worley, he would come out there and support us. And man, I remember he came to one of my football games, and I was just like, Coach, I can't believe you're still, coming to our games, and Greg's being a star on varsity now. And he just looked at me and he said, Kyle, why would I not be here? You know what I mean? And it was just those influences, they mold you.
So last night we had the Psyborg.
Oh man,
Palmore, the monster.
Yeah,
the guy goes 100 miles an hour. I've never met anyone that could talk faster than me, but I can't wait until that guy gets in the ring, because I think that guy, whoever he's fighting, he's going to be headbutting his fists and knees and elbows.
I'll tell you what, man.
Chip going on.
There's two Twitter clips that I posted, on that awesome interview that we had. One is the head kick, and I mean, it's just like a missile.
That, man. We could probably share it. Hold on.
Can we share that, Coach? And the sound and everything.
Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know if I'm that technologically advanced, but when did you share this? Because you share a lot of things. I see.
Yeah,
Ryan includes Friday.
Yeah,
okay, here's one, Coach. Here's one. Here we go.
Yeah, let's
see. I've never actually shared my screen before. I've only had other people do it. All right, so I got to present, and then I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay, man. This was just
share my screen, and I'm gonna share the Coach Bald Twitter. Okay, can you see that?
Oh, there it is. Look at that right there.
All right, walk us through this, Coach. What's happening here?
What it was is he was kind of working the body, and you kind of see the guy kind of put his arms low, and I even think he tried to throw a knee because he thinks he's going, for the side, and man, he just,
he got him right in the temple.
Knocks the taste out of his mouth, man. Yeah, that's a.
He put him to sleep.
He put him to sleep. Yeah, and this is another one, man. This was a left. He hit him with a quick jab, and he was saying that he had saw this on film. He wanted to attack the guy, and afterwards, bam, quick. It was a quick right, and then the left is what knocked him out. And then hey man, referee, you got to get in there because this guy's not going to stop. You know what I mean? What intensity that is, What
did A.D. Palmore, the Cyborg, what did he say last night he's trying to do, and what's the referee trying to stop?
Hey, man, that's exactly what he said. That was one of the things is he's not going to stop. It's his job to end the fight. It's the referee's job to stop the fight. And, you see a lot of fights you've seen sometimes where a ref step in the middle and, everybody gets a bad taste in their mouth and people don't like it. I think that's the best way, man. This guy, like he said, man, he switches to that cyborg mode and, it's, you don't want to be on the other side of that guy, man. That's for certain. And it's just.
How big is he? I mean, what size was he in high school? What is size now?
Yeah, AD was probably right about 6'3", 6'4", probably about 230 is what he played for us. I think when he went to college, he was in that 240, 250 range. And now he's right at 260, man. So, he's from what I could tell from the film too, man, he's a grown man. You know what I mean? He got his grown man strength and his grown man muscle. And, the dude's obviously been doing a lot of leg work because with a kick like that, man, you don't get that without working the legs. You know what I mean? So, it definitely, he's right about 260 now. And, I think the key to it, if you're not one of these guys that have to cut and make a weight, is try to get to where you're as comfortable as possible. Some of these guys will dehydrate themselves and, they're not who they are at their best. You know what I mean? At their peak level. And I think he's at a peak level right now at the, 255, 260 range. And, yeah, man, it's been,
here he is.
It's been amazing to watch. Yeah, man, that guy, that was our tight end right there. Yeah, man, that's
Check out the podcast.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. I think when I think of Lakewood, man, with Randy Moss, you had that Rand University. When I think of Lakewood, man, I think of like Grind University, man, because the people that can get out of there, they're grinders. They are, man. They're grinders, And one of the things I wanted to also mention is, one of the things I think that made my transition down here, good is that I was a guy that I went to 7 different schools. I started at Bensley. I went to Gates. Then I went to Salem Church. And then I moved up to Blackstone, in Nottoway County. And then from Nottoway County, went to Providence School. Then I went to then Salem.
How many schools did you go to?
Then Salem Middle. Well, that's 5 right there. That's 5. Salem Middle.
This is the guy right here that's got to fight the cyborg.
Man.
Stuart Dole. He's from Columbia University. Wow. This guy's an Ivy League guy, man.
Man, I don't think he's making this.
It doesn't say where he's from, though.
I don't know if
he's fighting out of Missouri.
Yeah. I don't know if he's making a smart choice this week, bud.
He's already fought Palomore once. He fought AD. It lasted 5 seconds.
that was the guy you saw.
10th.
That was the guy you saw that hit him. He hit with the right, and then he knocked him out with the left. Yeah, that was that second clip.
This dude in September.
That was the second clip. Yep. So we'll see. Oh, so also, I went to Byrd and then graduated from Lee Davis High School. So yeah, man, 7 schools. So. That's why I kind of know a lot of people, I guess. You know what I mean? You just kind of make friends everywhere. I was one that, was kind of used to moving. So, just kind of found good people everywhere. And
if you have any questions for Coach Bald or myself, put it in Facebook comments or go to YouTube, put it in the comments. But Coach, you said you have a philosophy. And you always post that on Friday. You're kind of like a Jocko.
Man,
like Jocko Willink. Talk a little bit about Jocko.
Man, let me tell you what. We talk about influences, and that guy's book, has been one that has meant a lot to me. And
which book?
I'll tell you this. This is exactly it. I got this book for my nephew. But my nephew was, up in Richmond, Virginia. And I was like, you know what? Let me just read this book first. You know what I mean? I'll read a couple pages, see what I'm getting into. And, the next thing I know, man, I'm at the end of this book. And then I look up and I buy another book, and what it is, it's just, it just kind of gives you a process of things. It shows you, how to work to get a little bit better. And then once you get a little bit better at it, you set the bar a little bit higher. Maybe you do the same task, but you try to do it faster. You try to do a little bit better, and it's one where, it doesn't show you how to do anything. It just kind of guides you through things, and you face different challenges through this book. And that book that I read that day, man, was The Way of the Warrior Kid. And
Way of the Warrior Kid.
Yeah, man, it was, it's such a good book. And the concepts, the kid is dealing with problems that people deal with, man. The kid had a bully problem. The kid wasn't the quickest with his math problems. The kid could not swim. So these are challenges that you face as a little kid. And, he just kind of, and the best part is, Jocko, Uncle Jake, what it is, this kid moves in. He has his uncle move in with him for the summertime, the whole summer. And, all the things that this, little guy is really struggling with, Uncle Jake, man, he's a Navy SEAL, and he knows, he knows the path. And, there's one part where, Mark couldn't do pull-ups. Mark is the child in the book, and Mark couldn't do pull-ups. And, Mark had a bike that wasn't that nice either. And, there's one part where, his Uncle Jake is like, look, man, I got you something. I think it's going to be something you're going to like. It's in the garage. Come check out the garage. And man, the kid goes in the garage, man. He is so fired up. He's like, man, Uncle Jake has bought me that bike I've been wanting, man. I am so excited. And, he starts looking, man. He's looking everywhere. He's looking under stuff. He just can't find that bike. And finally, he's like, man, Uncle Jake, where's my bike at? And Uncle Jake is like, what? You don't love it? And he points up and he looks up, and it's that pull-up bar. It was the thing that the kid did not want to see. It was that pull-up bar, but he was, determined to teach him how to do pull-ups. And, first lesson was, look, we're going to get this chair over there, and you're just going to hold on, hold on as long as you can. Mm-hmm. And, next kind of step was, you just kind of, have yourself lifted up there and hold on as long as you can, and it's just a process of things. But yeah, man, the whole mindset of it is, the grind includes Friday. We talk about TGIF, and yeah, I recommend all Jocko Willink books. They're life-changing books. I call them the badass blueprint. You know what I mean? Because it's something where you can pick up that book at any time, any page. And you're gonna learn something really important in life, And yeah, man, I love his podcast, man. Shout out to him, man. He has definitely been somebody that has had a lot of influence from that he's given me. And the cool thing about it is one of my biggest influence is Coach Bland. Coach Bland is a guy. Probably best thing I can say about him, man, is I've been in some real tough situations. And he's the person that I've said to myself, when I felt like I was at the bottom, man, what would Coach Bland do? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I can really say about that. But it was funny, too, because I got in touch with Coach and I asked him about it. And those two guys have crossed paths before. I don't know if it was at some kind of a convention.
Jocko Willink and Matt Bland.
Yeah. Those guys.
Jocko Willink and Matt Bland have crossed paths.
Yeah, man, and I could definitely see, those are definitely two guys that if they're walking on one side of the road, you're probably crossing on the other side. You know what I mean? Those aren't guys that you'd want to. You'd be looking to pick on and stuff like that. And I think that's an important thing too, man. These days you really got to have your awareness about you, man, because there's weirdos everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And we get stuck at watching our cell phones and stuff like that. The best way to not best way to not get yourself in a conflict is to avoid it. you know, and always kind of be where you're at, you know, be where you're at and everything. But yeah, man, those are some of my influences, you know, that have, you know, kind of triggered me to help me grow and get to where I'm at right now. And, you know, I look forward to learning more stuff. You know what I mean? We're at a good spot where, you know, you can research so much stuff with you know, internet and stuff like that. Like we kind of grew up at a time where we didn't have the cell phones. We couldn't get all of that stuff. So, you know, in one thing, it could be the biggest distraction in the world, but in the other, man, it could be, you know, the biggest crutch in the world. It's how you handle it.
Look, if we would have had cell phones, or if we would
Man, you know, you're talking to
you
to
were the
guys.
originator, man. You were the first kid that had a camera. You knew how to you know, record prank phone calls. I mean, you were ahead of your time. You know, and even kids today, some of these guys that do pranks on YouTube, they don't even know who the Jerky Boys are.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's amazing, man.
Yeah, those guys. It was, you know, time of our lives back then, man.
Why did you want to have a video camera when you were a teenager? What was the whole deal with that? I mean, because today kids have cell phone cameras and the video cameras on their cell phone, but you actually had to have a VHS camera. And those things were not cheap. They were $500, I bet.
I don't know how we came up with that. You know what I mean? Like my mom just, you know, worked the factory her whole life. You know what I mean? And gave everything she could. And you know, somehow I ended up with that thing. And you know, kids these days don't understand. Like you're literally walking around with what looks like a rocket launcher these days. You know, back in the days, all my old school peeps, you know, it was like walking around with a boombox. You know what I mean? It was a big contraption. But I guess just because we were having so much fun with what we were doing that, you know, you couldn't explain how fun and funny the stuff was unless you was there. You know, so
yeah, I mean, it was like the YouTube before the YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a video of it.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know? And you know, we could record prank phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, on answer machines. You figure that out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was wild. And you know, the weirdest thing that we never did, which I'm really surprised at, is we never called any like opposing football teams or players that we were going to be playing. You know,
dude, I don't even know how we would have gotten their number. I mean, you look at you don't have the internet. You have the white pages. You look in the white pages. I mean, you have to know the person's folks' first name,
right,
where they live at,
or you just keep calling the last names until you get it right.
Yeah, just go down the list,
go down the line.
A phone book. What happened to those things, man?
Hey, I think I believe Uncle Chuck, your dad, one time took us to. You remember I think they were called the Power Team. Was that you and I think that was all of us.
My dad took us to it, but those are the people that they're like they were the ministers. They were like the Christian missionaries,
man.
And they would go out and preach. I don't think my dad had anything to do with that.
No, but I think he took us to it. I think
really, you think our dad? I remember being at one of those things, but I don't remember how we got there.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Where was it at?
Man, I can't remember where it was at, but the most fondest memory, it had to be somewhere. It was at some kind of a gym or something like that. Yeah, it was a gym. But I just remember the guy, you know, a phone book back in the day was literally, I mean, like the size of a football. And I remember this guy grabbing.
Dude, I gotta find some video of this, dude.
I remember this guy grabbing this thing and just ripping it like, you know, a piece of paper. And you know, when you see that at a young age, you're like, man, there's nothing that isn't possible.
Wow,
dude,
you
got it?
This is from 16 years ago on YouTube. Okay, so I mean, like, this is a long time ago, man.
Yeah, this might get
me a copyright violation, but that's okay, man. This This is the power team. All right.
Yeah.
These are guys that would travel around the country preaching the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle remembers us going to this. I don't particularly remember it that well, but here we go, y'all. This is the power team right here. This is what Coach Bald is talking about. The power team.
35 seconds. Let's give him a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on.
Wow. Coach, I just had a flashback. Can I share it?
I don't know, man. It depends on what it is. I don't know. There's probably not much that is still in the statute of limitations, that I could be arrested for or probably get fired for at this point.
You're gonna like this.
Go ahead.
Man. You're gonna like this one, man. It was I want to say 95 or not, no, about 96, 95, 96. But I remember, we had the most jacked, just bad dude, man. Not the guy you would ever want to mess with from Courthouse Green Apartments. He was our fullback. And I remember Coach Paulette had us in there, and he gave everybody he grabbed somebody and just gave a rubber band. Said, "Look, man, just rip that thing apart and run rubber band. Boom, no problem." And then he just kind of said, "You know what? If you guys all keep doing what y'all are doing and y'all don't stick together, that's what's you guys want to be individuals. This is what's going to happen to you." And then after that, man, he pulled out, just a freaking stack, a ton of rubber bands. And he handed them to Bari and said, "Look, man, go ahead and rip those apart." And he had so many rubber bands, and Bari was just jacked, man. Rest in peace, Jabari Cormier, man. He was a guy that made a good influence on me. I remember at an early age, we were doing drills, and man, nobody wanted to pick up Bari. You know what I mean? And somehow I got stuck picking up Bari and carrying him down the field and everything. And, just such a good dude, man. Such an amazing soul. Really sad that we lost him. But yeah, man, I'll never forget that message Coach Paulette had for us, with those rubber bands, that, you stick together as a unit. And, you guys can kind of accomplish anything. And, yeah, man, that was just a flashback I just had of that guy ripping them phone books. Reminded me of.
How do you think the dude could actually rip the phone book in half? How does that happen? I guess that's just his strength. He's got the wrist strength, the forearm strength, and he's using his biceps, his back, his chest. He's pushing, he's pulling, but ripping phone books in half.
Yeah, it's definitely some tremendous strength involved. You know what I mean? And it's probably a mindset that, there's no way I won't rip this thing apart.
Yeah, just like A.D. Palomore, he's just trying to,
I'll tell you what
turn
happened.
That dude's face into mush, and he's not going to stop until that phone book is ripped in half.
That's what I'll tell you like this,
it's
Coach.
Mindset.
Yeah, exactly. It started like this. He probably grabbed one piece of paper, ripped it. Then he grabbed two pieces of paper, ripped it, and just did the process, man. Worked up to where he had, 1,000 pieces of paper, just like that. Yeah, man, it's that mindset.
I forgot all about the power team.
Yeah, man, that's the best part about this, man. We can chop it up, and you'll have good flashbacks like that, like I did with Coach Paulette right there. And yeah, another amazing influence. Coach Waters, and Coach Elena.
Yeah, he became a doctor.
Is that right?
He was a principal at middle school in Chesterfield, but he became Dr. Elena.
And what about our JV coach back then? You were pretty tight with him, right?
Which one?
Our head coach.
Our JV head coach,
Yeah.
Coach Gillum.
Well, was it Coach Gillum? Thought we had. He ended up coaching. He ended up being head coach there for a little bit too, right? Who was the head coach after Coach Paquette stepped
Coach
away?
Bedwell.
No,
Coach Bedwell was the head coach after Coach Paquette.
man, I don't know why I'm drawing this blank right now.
Jernigan.
No, but I love Scott Jernigan.
Our JV coach was my freshman coach was Joby Martin, and then my JV coach was Coach Gillums with a JV coach, and then Coach you talking about Coach Nicely.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe Coach Nicely was my JV coach.
How do I forget that guy? Man,
Coach Nicely was the JV coach.
What an influence he was. Let me ask you this. I often wondered this. Are you guys still able to do, circle drill like we used to back in the day? I think that's probably
we do.
Variation.
Yeah, no, we do. It's not as long.
Yeah, it can't be
but really that's what they say you're supposed to do now is to do a slow run, and then with those calisthenics in there, it's a good way to make your heart stronger. Rather than just the rapid sprints or trying to run 5 miles. Actually, by running in a circle at a slow pace and stopping and doing calisthenics, whenever the whistle's blown, is actually it was a way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that in the summer, but by the time we get to summer camp where it's actually practice time, this year we even went away from doing 2-a-days, and we just did one longer practice with a short break in the middle, and with offense and defense, because we just don't want to have that. Remember when we were kids, we'd practice and then we'd be off for like 2 hours, and then they have 7-on-7 on the game field. Then we come back and have another practice. There's a lot of time period in there that something bad could happen, man.
Yeah, so without a doubt.
Cut down on that time where something could happen. Back when we were kids, I don't know. It was like we went and came as we wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought that was what was so crucial to what was built there, man, is Coach Nicely and Coach Jernigan, man. Those guys, they could have coached at varsity anywhere, but they were perfect guys to mold guys to, once you got to that varsity level, man, you knew you kind of knew the path. You knew what you were going to see and everything like that. You were just going against a lot bigger guys then, when you got to the varsity level. But man, I love that path that was kind of set up. You need a good freshman coach. You need a good JV coach that can develop these guys. See, over here, it's a little different. Pretty much the same. The varsity coaches are pretty much, they're your JV coaches here. At least at Lakewood, I think Coach Moore takes a little a step back and lets those other guys run it. I don't know who would be considered the head coach, but of the JV, but I think it's just one of those where he just lets his guys do their thing, but it's all the same. We're running the same plays and stuff like that we do at each level.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right,
yeah, man.
You want to shout out our sponsor?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Cultivate Wellness, man. I was checking it out, man. There's so much good stuff. You can get some stuff for your favorite four-legged friend there. There's gummies. There's different ointments and stuff like that. Don't live your life in pain. And there's stuff for your wives, for your girlfriends, stuff like that. Get on the website, check it out. Health is wealth. And man, we really appreciate their sponsorship here at Totem Pole Sports.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she uses CBD on her dog when it's fireworks and thunder and stuff and lightning that he's scared of.
Right. Yep, they do. They have calming calming ointment for them. And also they have it's like a ice roller. It's kind of like the roll-on deodorant, but that is phenomenal, man. You can put it on, you know, if you got joint issues, you got an elbow that's kind of hurting you, or a shoulder, you can you know, use that ointment, and you know, that area will feel nice and cool for a good while, and you won't have that agonizing pain and stuff like that. And you know, we couldn't be more proud to have them back us up like this, you know.
Yeah, so Cultivate Wellness, thank you. Make sure you visit their website, cultivatewellness.com, at CultivateW on Twitter, at Cultivate Wellness on Instagram. Coach Ball, do you got anything you want to say before we leave?
You know, just have a great weekend, everybody. You know, you don't have a whole lot of football this weekend, so go ahead and get some good stuff done. Get a good workout in. If the weather's good, get outside. It's good for you. And yeah, we just appreciate everything. Appreciate you guys listening to us.
See y'all.